just concentrate now and work out where our best spot will be to go. Okay, so I can see Aubrey, he's just up ahead. I'm hoping it's not going to be long until we get you a view. Does it look like he's crossed your orbs? Some spider webs in my mouth. So according to Aubrey, he was heading more north, so I'm giving you a clue there as to it's not a lot of animals, it's just one animal and it's a male. Okay. Just, I think we're going to be able to maybe get a glimpse here somewhere. Chandra just had to pull the antenna back up as that popped down, but take a closer look to our left. Surprise! Awesome! It's Madiba, a young male leopard, and we could well have been tracking his mother earlier this morning. It looks like he's listening very intently. No, he's back on the move now. But he does seem very focused. And maybe he's heard something up ahead of us in this thick bush. He is heading into a tricky area, so this may be the last glimpse we have of him. At least for now, and we'll try and have to relocate him on the other side of this little riverbed he's heading into. He is very poised, though. There must be something up ahead there that's caught his attention. Obviously, it's not too close, though, and that's what's allowing him to move forward fairly quickly, but I'm fairly certain he is on the trail of something up ahead there. Aubrey, thanks very much. Beautiful. I love watching them move through this thick vegetation. Obviously some nice clear close-ups are also great, but to see them slinking through this, imagine how terrifying it must be for the prey animals seeing us like that, approaching them. Oof. Not an easy job. Doing a great job keeping focus on him as he melts into this Tamboti thickets. Doing a great... Okay, I'm just going to get on the radio again and let Aubrey and Texan know. Texan arrived just a moment after me, but he was too late to get a view of the leopard from here. So I'm just going to let them know where we had the last visual from, and they're going to loop it around to the northern side of this riverbed and try and relocate him there. And rather than us rushing around like this, try and relocate him there. And rather than us rushing around like them, it will be best for us to try and stay with him from this side so that they're off down into this drainage from where I was last parked. quite lucky, and we've managed to find him again. You can't see too much other than a few spots. But at least we've still got a glimpse of him, and a lot of you have sent through comments saying, look at how big he is, and he is growing. Some of you mentioned that you got confused and thought it could have been Tingana. But I can assure you, if they were side by side, Tingana would be considerably larger than him. But he is certainly taking the shape of a male leopard now. And I look forward to hopefully spending at least the next 6 months following his growth. He could hang around for even longer than that. And he's listening very intently here. And I'm just going to get back onto the radio to let the guys know that I do still have a visual. Orbs, I still do have a visual of him. He's just south of this Skorva and stationary for now, but still looking to move north. Texan, it's difficult. I mean, I've got a view here, but if he goes any further, there's a big Tambuti thicket ahead of me. So I think the best bet would probably to be waiting on the northern side of this drainage, and I'll stand by on the southern side and try and link them up to you. Look at his ears twitching from side to side. He must hear something or sense something up ahead. I wonder what it could be. A young leopard of this size will attack a wide variety of prey in terms of size. And anything from as small as a little dwarf mongoose up to possibly impala-sized prey. Well, we've never seen him with a large kill. The largest kill we've seen him with is a toss-up between a Franklin and a dwarf mongoose. But that's not to say he hasn't had success catching bigger prey, and like a lot of you said, he's growing into a bigger male now, and he's bigger than his mother, so certainly capable in terms of size of taking an adult impala. Watch closely, because he could leap or pounce at any moment. Slightly, it's another form of leopard communication. Like I said, it's called chuffing, and it's basically short exhalations kind of thing. And he may be doing that out of frustration or excitement in this hunt, but I saw some very slight chuffing like movements coming. And while we sit and wait to see what he does next, we can chat. Oh, there he goes. He went for something. I don't think he succeeded. You got him there, bottom left, Chandra. Maybe a small rodent. I did see a little gerbil moving about earlier. It was too quick to get Chandra onto it. But possibly a small rodent, a small bushveld gerbil. I think he might be close to it because he's still fishing around in that area. Oh, all right. I think he's under the vehicle. I think he went straight under the vehicle. You can see the branches moving in front of us. He's right in front of us. So we can't move. He's too close to us, but he literally ran straight towards the vehicle. And whatever he was chasing, who knows, maybe he caught it. I'm just going to try and poke my head up. He's right there, just in front of us. He hasn't caught anything, though. Tex, I've got your audio. If you want to switch off there and just get an idea of where I am. He's just lansering some gundans here. So there's nothing we can do. He's too close to start the vehicle, but whatever he chased, I think ran straight underneath the car. And I thought he followed suit, but there was a big log, actually, that the animal may have hidden under. You can maybe see a bit of the corner of the log sticking out. And not very clearly, but you can see the twig in front of the bonnet moving. And I said Lanzering Gundan, which means he's hunting rats in, well, half of it's Shangaan and half of it is Zulu. So not perfect language, but Texan will know what I'm saying. There he goes. Oh, he did get it. Look, it's in its mouth. Oh, you can't see its mouth. He caught the rat. Awesome. Look at that. You can only just see it. Well done, Madiba. Not the biggest prey, but it's your first kind of live kill. Awesome. Well done. How cool! Well, when I peeked my head over the bonnet, I didn't see anything over in his mouth, but he may have had it in its paws. Tex, he's just caught Gundanya. Wow. It's so thick here, but he is moving around, so he may continue towards you. Absolutely awesome. Yeah, affirmative. He's just ahead of my vehicle and slightly to the west, maybe 10 meters. It's incredibly thick here, and I think this is the end of the road for us. Like I said, there's a massive log just ahead of us. And this is great to see, because conception that these predators only catch large prey. Oh, it looks like he's playing with it. But I've even seen adult leopards eat tiny birds out of a nest, tiny little chicks. And any meal that they can make or catch will keep them going, and a lot of small meals like this can help sustain leopards between the bigger meals. Now, I didn't get a very close look at his prey, but I think it could very well be a bushveld gerbil, which is a rat-like animal. It's a small rodent. They live in small burrows under the ground. And we just got a question coming through asking if we get any cane rats, and there certainly are cane rats within the Sabi Sands, but they typically like to follow the river courses or large river beds, which we don't have too many of. They're not going to be around, but I've never seen one here at Djuma. And a cane rat, for those of you who don't know, is a very large rat, probably the size of a guinea pig, which is something that a lot of you will be able to maybe relate to, and it even looks fairly similar to a guinea pig. I want to see if there's no chance we can get a little bit closer. It would be great to see him playing about here. Oh, sorry. Get us a better angle. It's tricky in here, but this may be a better angle for the time being. And he's still playing around with his kill. He hasn't finished it off yet. No, just different to domestic house cats, who will often play around with their quarry before killing it. And I did see him chase after it again shortly, and he's almost urging it on to move again so he can relive the takedown. So Lisa, you are 100% correct. This is the first live kill that we've seen him make, and I'm hoping we're going to get to see him make many more. We didn't get to see the actual takedown. It all happened so quickly. Oh. And again, he's chased it straight up to our vehicle. Reverse ever so slightly. It's going to be very tricky here, but you will get a view of him there. And this poor little gerbil is not having the best morning. There's a rattling testicular alarm calling now. I wonder if he's... Like I said, he is chasing it around. He's playing with it like a domestic house cat. He has not killed it yet. And has he lost it, or does he still have it between his paws? I'm not too sure. He did move quite a large distance chasing it this most recent time. And he may well have lost it. It looks not looking very promising now. But let's give it a moment or two. Maybe it is between his paws. Now a tree squirrel's alarm calling. Sindile, have you just let breakfast disappear? I think what could be happening is a poor rodent might just be under a few fallen down branches and logs. Oh, yeah, it's still there. He's just urging it to move again. Tex, he's just playing with this gundan, running up and down, chasing it, letting it, yeah, he hasn't killed it yet. He's right in front of my vehicle, maybe 5 meters away. Oh, there it is. It's still there. So, he didn't lose breakfast, and it looks like, oh, no, not quite ready for breakfast just yet. It's not easy, we're in such thick bush here that we can't position the vehicle in a good spot for this action to unfold. Let's try and see if this doesn't help. So he is still chasing it around. You can see his tail flicking about in the bush there. You can still hear the squirrel not happy at all with the presence of this leopard in the area. Tex, it doesn't look like he's going to continue north anymore, so I don't know if you want to try and come back onto the southern side and get your limousine in here. It's tricky for the other vehicles. Yeah, possibly Tex, but at this stage I don't think he's going to continue north anymore. So your only chance is going to be to try here or to tola another ingwe. I'm just trying to give Tex as best an update as I can. It's his call at the end of the day, but as I was saying, their vehicles are so much longer than ours and more difficult to maneuver that he may not be able to get his vehicle into this spot. But we will certainly try our best to get him here, and even if we have to make space, we've had such a great sighting of him already that we can now maybe give up our spot, only temporarily, just to let Texan and his guests take a closer look at this leopard. And we must remember that if it wasn't for Aubrey, who found this leopard, we wouldn't be here right now. So it's all about sharing our chow. It's interesting how I think through complete default, every time this gerbil has run off, it's come straight towards the vehicle, making it impossible for Chandra to film. It sounds like the squirrel's getting a little bit tired, and it'll be interesting if some of you have noticed how the call has changed over the time that it's from when it started till now. And that's important to remember. If a squirrel is alarming like that, you know that whatever he has been alarming at has been here for quite some time. It's not the initial shrill excitement. Where has your gerbil gone, Cindy? There's such great training for him. Interesting. Is that the luckiest gerbil on the planet? Or is it still under siege from this leopard? I don't think he's going to give up quite that easily, but there's some very thick bush here that the gerbil may have been able to disappear into. I'm surprised that it can even move after being clamped in the jaws of the leopard. But obviously it was just holding it very gently. And it's the distance and speed that the gerbil's been running off on each time it does get a moment indicates that it's still in surprisingly good health. Well, while Sindila is moving through this very thick bush, well, no, let's keep on him. I've just seen the squirrel, but we'll get back to the squirrel later because we may get to see another surge of him chasing after this gerbil. While we wait for him to make his next maneuver, we can ask an interesting question through from Donna. And good to have you with us, Donna. Donna's interested to know if this leopard ever had any siblings. And I'm almost certain he did have a brother or a sister at some point, but I'm not sure how old either of the siblings may have been, or any of the siblings may have been before they were killed, in all likelihood by male leopard, hyena or lion. But it's common for leopard to give birth to 2 or 3 cubs. How many survive is usually low, but I'm almost certain that he would have at some point had siblings. And interestingly enough, Donna, this is the first successful, look at this. This is the first time that his mother's been successful at raising a cub to this age. Every other litter that she's had has not made it to adulthood. And I'm not sure how many litters she has had, maybe 5 or 6 at least. But this is the first one to make it to a decent age, and in all likelihood he will make it to independence. You know? Have you lost it, or is it still in this thick bush? It could easily just be hiding under a fallen over log. And I think in a situation like this, he's going to be using his nose to try and help track down exactly where it is. He's straying further and further afield now, so I think that this gerbil may have miraculously shaken the leopard off its tail. Now, let's hope that as soon as Texan gets here that the leopard doesn't continue north, which it looks like it may be doing right now, which will be to the area where Texan was patiently waiting for about 15 minutes. But we've got no control over the animals, and they do exactly as they please, sometimes making our lives a bit tricky. What have you found now? I think he's just in such a playful mood that any tiny little thing that rustles, he pounces on. And aren't we so lucky to be watching this? And aren't we so lucky to be watching this incredible behavior? He's just a few meters away from us now. Actually, at the initial point where he managed to latch on to this gerbil. So our bumper was up against those dead leaves of a weeping wattle and that horizontal branch. So he's come back to the initial spot where he caught that prey. And he's digging around through a lot of the bark now, hoping he can find another one, but I don't think you're going to be so lucky, Madiba. Now, what I would like to do is actually just try and... We may have to make space for Texan and his guest to view the leopard. Oh, this is terrible timing. Tex, he's just on the other side of our vehicle. I'm going to try and go forward so you can get to see him. Sorry, everyone. I just wanted to rush out of the way there so that Texan can hopefully get a view of the leopard. And Gendre may be able to get a glimpse of him, but it's important that we get out of the best spots and allow Texan into it. You got him there, Tex? Well, I'm having trouble with the radio. Did you get a view of him, Tex? Fan, he headed off straight through there, kind of north and east, through this Tambuti. He's just gone now as I moved the...
Just on top of the termite.
You've got him there. Well done. Okay, phew. Well, Texan and his tracker Fanel have spotted him, so the guests are now all very happy and have got big smiles on their face, and we're just going to let them get into good spots, and then we will reposition the vehicle. Like I say, some of these people can come on safari for maybe 2 or 3 nights, and imagine if they came here and didn't get to see one leopard. It does happen. So I wanted to make sure we weren't the cause of that. And a lot of us, including you, are so spoiled with the sightings we get and the time we get to spend with. Okay, well, they have got into, or in the process of getting into the right spot. We now need to try and get out of this thick spot that we've got ourselves into. Thank you very much, Ellen, for your report saying that young Madiba did have a sister. So this leopard did have a sibling, Donna, and it was a female. But Ellen's not too sure how old it was when it died or what actually caused that. But still great to know that he did have a sister. A perfect position for Texan and his guests to enjoy a view of him, so that worked out well. Well, can you believe it? That gerbil lives to tell the tale to its friends. And imagine being a prey item so small within the jaws of such a large predator and live to tell the tale. Absolutely incredible. And I'm fairly certain that after a few more moments or minutes of playing with that gerbil, he would have killed it and fed on it. But that was the risk he took. And I guess maybe he's not hugely hungry. He doesn't look like he's starving. And I guess that could be a contributing factor. If he was starving, he may have gobbled it up straight away. But don't be fooled that simply because it was small, that he wouldn't have been happy to feed on it. What I can do is just move the vehicle forward about a meter or so. We should get a better view. Slightly better. There's still a few branches in the way. But I don't think this is going to be the end of his movements this morning. And I'm hoping after a short break and some time for grooming, which he's doing now, he'll hopefully get up and move one last time before it starts getting a bit too warm. And I think it really is going to turn into a beautiful hot day. Oh, there you got a good idea of the grooming that he's doing as he popped his one paw into the air. Well, always great to hear a new name, having sent through a question. This one's from Washington, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I think it's Lael, and Lael would like to know, how do the big cats see? Do they see in black and white or color? And basically, Lael, a lot of the predators will have very limited color in their vision, and often just two tones, black and white, or different colors, but not great color view. Excuse me, I'm making a hash of this. They don't have great color vision, and the reason why they don't have good color vision is because their eyes are made up predominantly of rods, which are used for night vision, and not cones. So even our eyes have rods and cones in them. We have many cones in our eye, and cones are responsible for the color we get to see and the wide spectrum of color that we can see. Predators who require nocturnal vision have not got enough space for a lot of these cones for color, and their eyes will have many rods in them which help them pick up lights when it's very dark, and that way be able to see their prey when hunting at night. And that causes them to see in very, very minimal shades of color. And it basically is black and white, you could say. I've heard different theories that they see in a yellowy color, but they don't have nearly as much of a color spectrum as we have. A lot of the prey animals that they feed on will be more similar to us as humans and be able to see in different colors, but also have a degree of night vision, not nearly as good as their predators, but I think certainly better than ours. Can you hear another bird alarm calling? I can't see it, and I'm not sure exactly what it is. You can just hear it going. Where is it? But again, interesting how even small birds will alarm call at the leopards. We heard the squirrel earlier. The squirrel has stopped now, even though we are still in the same area. So obviously carried on with its own business. But you may be able to hear one other animal still alerting anything in this area to the presence of this leopard. Now, earlier I discussed briefly my thoughts as to why he may have been willing to take the chance of playing with this gerbil and then run the risk of losing it. And Lisa Osborne would like us to let us know a little bit more of why it may have been doing that, or whether it does that in order to learn and teach itself to continue to hunt. Or do we think now that it will learn its lesson from this specific moment where it lost its kill? Lisa, I think because he's not hugely hungry, he doesn't feel compelled to feed on this, or he didn't feel compelled to feed on this gerbil, and therefore, yes, he did run the risk of losing it. I think the reason why he was playing with it was because it's fun. And yes, he's still young, and we must remember that he's not an adult yet. And that playful nature of a youngster could have been coming through there. But even adult leopards may play with prey from time to time, especially prey that they are confident that is not going to escape, like a baby impala. I've seen adult female leopards play with them before and relive the takedown. And the thrill for these predators of actually latching onto their prey must be quite something. And I guess once you have caught something that you are confident you can catch again, why not let it go to relive that excitement? So I'd put it down to purely his playful nature and the fact that he is not starving and could get by without that tiny little meal. I certainly don't think it's the first meal that he's caught and lost. And it's probably happened many, many times in his life, so I don't think he's necessarily going to learn from this. And I think the will to play and entertain himself will override the risk of losing the odd gerbil. Okay, let's try and reposition. He does seem to be quite comfortable in this spot, so we may be able to get you guys a better view. Easy, and as we got you, he's flattened himself down. But what a great low angle this is. Beautiful. There we go. Well, it looks like for the time being he may be comfortable in this spot, so I don't think we're going to lose him, and this may be a good opportunity to send you across to Brent and James, who are continuing to search Djuma for anything exciting. So why don't you jump on board with them and see what's happening on the other side of Djuma. We're on the western side now, they are on the east, and they may have some interesting intelligence or updates for you, and we'll be waiting here with Madiba when you get back.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Mahindra, our South Asian member of our staff. Doesn't have a name yet other than Mahindra, and this just gives you an impression of what we do when we're not on Jigger or Wendy. We drive about, we put somebody with good eyes on the front of the tracker seat. Give everyone a wave, Brent. Yes, and his job is to look at the road and see if he can find some tracks. I am trying a new driving style as we speak, sitting upon the door. If the screen goes black, it is because I've had a large-scale automotive accident. I'm not convinced about this particular driving style because I'm actually completely unable to reach the brake from where I'm sitting. A longer person may not have the same troubles. What we did do while in your absence last time was go and try and have a look at a bush baby nest, which Brent found the other day. There were no bush babies there within, as far as we could tell, and I also luckily didn't plummet to my death from the tree in which I was sitting. So our plan from here is to continue. We're now on the eastern boundary, on the cheetah cut line, so named because there's never ever been a cheetah seen here, or certainly not by me.
And Jamie's seen the cheetah here.
Okay, so there have been some cheetahs seen here. That is good news. And we are just hoping against hope that there will be some kind of track wandering across here. And I have, oh sorry, I'm also being reminded that I saw a cheetah here at one stage. So please ignore everything I've said up to this point about cheetah. But we have been astonished by the lack of tracks crossing over the sort of freshly moistened roads over the last few days, and I don't know where everything's gone. But I'm most pleased that sorry, I'm not allowed to call him that anymore, Madiba, aka Nelson Mandela, has made his reappearance there in the southern reaches of Djuma. Hopefully his mother and his grandmother will come back soon too. Now his grandmother has been conspicuous by her absence for the last little while. We think possibly because she's being pushed across to this particular area around here by Shadow and by another leopard called Kwatile coming up from the south.
And in Kanyanini from the east.
And in Kanyanini from the east, according to Brent Leo Smith. So lots of pressure from the various leopards, and of course that's not uncommon for a female leopard for her territory to shrink under pressure from her daughters and granddaughters. It's a little bit like the human being that has a farm and has to cut it in half for his sons. That's actually exactly what it's like. Anyway, whether she'll reappear or not, we're not sure. But the other good news that I heard yesterday was that Mvula, a male leopard, my particular favorite, because he's not very large, a bit like me, and he was seen yesterday on a kill somewhere south of us, I think on Cheetah Plains, was it?
Chitwa.
On Chitwa.
Directly south of where we're going to join our southern boundary.
Direct south of where we're going to join our southern boundary. Brent's microphone is not working, by the way, so if he sounds like he is hailing you from a distance, it is because his microphone is not working. Sorry about that. So we're hoping maybe we'll pick his tracks up or any other tracks. And then some fascinating information just coming in from Safari Haze that Quarantine Mvula's son was seen with him the other day. Now that's wonderful to know. And we have lots of questions while we drive along about the skills of various mammals as fathers specifically. And normally we have to give people the disappointing news that the male of whatever species we happen to be looking at is a dreadful parent, while the mothers are left to do all the work. And so it's very nice to hear that Quarantine is being mentored by Bula. Well, we hope he's being mentored, and that they have been seen together. I must say, I think that's a very nice thing to hear, and I'd love to see them together. So, Safari Hayes, whoever gave you that information, perhaps you could ask them to send Bula and Quarantine this way, so that we might show them to you.
Well, the only tracks are white mongoose heading south.
And hyena.
And now hyena.
Keep your eyes open, Brent.
Yes. The hyena tracks have been over, so they're from yesterday. The white-tailed mongoose tracks are over today.
So I don't know if you can hear Brent. He's saying that there are lots of white-tailed mongoose tracks going down the road, 1 or 2 hyena that have been driven over from yesterday, but nothing in the way of lions. We did hear the lions calling here yesterday. Brent and I are doing our sort of mock-up of the sunset chat, if you like, next to the stinking carcass of an old buffalo, and we did hear lions calling far to the north and hoped that they would come south, but that doesn't appear to have been the case. And we've been listening to the Game Drive radio all morning, and nobody has found sign of the lions in any of our traversing areas. And thank you, Marla, for your pointing out that this is truly the safari view from the vehicle. Yes, this is basically, if you were on safari, this is what you would have. You would have some gimp like me blethering information at you, hopefully entertaining, and in the front of the vehicle you would have the real bush person watching the tracks and keeping an eye out and spotting. Not so, Brent?
That is very true, but he might be a few shades darker than I.
Indeed. Normally a Shangaan tracker, because the Shangaans have a massive... Indeed. Normally a Shangaan tracker, because the Shangaans have a massive tradition of excellent tracking in this area, and have a massive tradition of excellent tracking in this area, and especially when it comes to things like leopards and lions. Now, on the subjects of leopards, when you come back to us next, we will have something slightly more impressive. But a nice idea, and very good to talk to you, finally, live again. Bye-bye, and see you now.
Welcome back, everyone, and I'm sure you all enjoyed that different perspective and view. The two of them in action. As you can see, nothing has changed here. He's still in the same spots. He is poking his head up and down every so often. But I think it could be his resting point for the next couple of hours. I hope he proves me wrong and gets up and continues to move, but I think we have exhausted our luck with this young male leopard already this morning. And why don't you guys decide what we do next? You can send in your thoughts to whether we should stay or go to hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or send an email through to questions@wildearth.tv. And we're only going to take the first few votes, so be quick if you would like to have an impact or influence where we go next, or whether we do leave or stay. I can tell you, though, to help make your decisions, that there's not too much else going on in terms of tracks or potential sightings, but the only way to find these things is to get out and explore. So it's a bit of a gamble, heading off into the unknown, but you've got to gamble every now and then and take the risk. Texan's making his way out of the sighting. Texan's making his way out of the sighting, so look at that flawless face of his, no scratches or scars. And Clay has just asked whether or not this leopard, I think this leopard may have been in a fight, and I think it's highly unlikely that he has been in a fight. Young leopards aren't going to fight with one another, and if he did get caught out by a bigger leopard in a fight, it probably would have been the end of his career here. So I really don't think he's been in any serious confrontations. He would have certainly had to run for his life on a number of occasions, but I don't think he has been in a fight, and his pure, clean face, free of scratches and scars, even his ears don't have any notches in them yet, is a good indicator that he is still young and flawless, but in the coming years he is going to certainly get into a few tussles with other leopards, and that's when we'll start seeing the scratches on his muzzle as well as notches in his ears. Now, leopards will have varying amounts of notches and scars depending on the individual, and a lot of the notches on the ears are caused from possibly even mating, when males and females lash out at one another after the copulation. It's a very painful process for both male and female, so things often get quite heated. So it can be a combination of mating and territorial bouts that cause leopards to get their scars and features. So a lot of reports have come through of audio that's been heard on the various waterhole cams, one at Djuma and one at Arathusa. And Wildy heard leopard calling somewhere around Arathusa last night and would like to know how far does the sound of a leopard's rasp travel. It's a tricky one, Wildy, because it all depends on how sensitive the microphones are and receivers at the waterholes, and I'm told they are very good, but obviously it's very different to the human ear, and maybe it can hear better than we could. But for me, especially at the moment with the vegetation being very dry and open, you can hear a leopard's call from about 2 to 3 kilometers away at the maximum, so about a third as far as you can hear lions calling. And that will depend on a number of variables, the terrain that it's in, whether it's undulating or very thick. And also what makes it complicated is I don't know exactly how well the audio is picked up by the microphones at the waterhole cameras, but I'm guessing, and this is just a guess, that it would have to be within a mile radius of the waterhole camera at a maximum for it to be able to pick up that audio, and in all likelihood I would say even closer than that. So I would say less than a mile away would be a safe distance for the waterhole camera to pick up the leopard's rasp. And if you do go within a mile radius of the Arathusa waterhole, there are lots of hiding places, quite a few riverbeds, thick areas that are difficult to traverse and search for leopards. But who knows, maybe the guides there have got lucky and are enjoying a sighting of a leopard now. There's no way of me being able to find out unless I drive onto Arethusa and get closer to them so that I can be in radio comms with them. I'm currently a little bit too far away to be able to communicate with them. So sadly, not sure whether they did have any luck finding tracks or maybe even the animal that you guys heard rasping. But thank you very much for those updates. So interesting. The voting has not led to a clear indication as to whether we should stay or whether we should go. So that makes it a little bit complicated for me because it puts the pressure on me to make this decision now. But let me try and rationalize what I think we should do with you. We have had a great sighting of him, and at the moment, he's fast asleep. So I don't think we should stay any longer. Even though if we did stay longer, who knows what we could see happen. Maybe his mother would come back and they would reunite. I mean, there's a never-ending list of things that could happen if we stay. One of the things that could happen is he could get up and move straight into this thick bush and we could not see him again. So that's one of the negatives. But I think the fact that we have already had such a wonderful morning with him, and the fact that there are so many other animals and scenery to see along the way, that I think we should continue. So I'm sorry if that wasn't your vote, and I completely understand and could very easily be on the stay here boat, but maybe we could come back later and see if he's still around. I think the temperature is also going to play a big impact on what he gets up to, and as it gets hotter and warmer, he's going to be less likely to be active. So maybe we can just take one last look at him, and for a few moments, and then I think we head off and see what else is happening. But I mean, you can look at that body language and tell that he is very comfortable. Hard to even tell that he's there. And I think that is our cue to venture forth into the unknown. Thank you, Mr. Madiba. And thank you to Aubrey, who found him this morning, because if it wasn't with Aubrey, or if it wasn't for Aubrey, we would have had nothing to see here. Just going to try and negotiate our way out of this thick Tamboti cluster, which may take a number of short and sharp turns. I'm making a meal of this. It looks like we are stuck for the time being. And Lisa's just made a comment that he's so comfortable with the vehicles, and you rightly see he's incredibly relaxed around the vehicles, and that's probably because we've spent many an hour sitting with him, reassuring him that we are not here to cause him any harm. And he's at the point now where he doesn't even lift up his head or batter an eyelid when we arrive, pushing over branches and bushes. He's completely comfortable with our presence. And sometimes I wonder to myself, when he is, especially when he's left alone, if he doesn't actually appreciate our presence because it's a little bit of company. I'm certainly not saying that he is attached to us, but think a little part of him every now and then is happy to see us when he's left alone. Some spectators to watch him showing off, like this morning, catching his prey. He kept looking up at us, almost waiting for a round of applause.